In the new golden age of America, baby. We are back. I am back from Washington, D.C., which I have to be honest with you was the coldest place on the planet. I saw a group of penguins walking around. Here we go. I saw a group of penguins walking around in Washington, D.C. It was literally the coldest thing. It's the coldest place I've ever been in my entire life. But it was incredible to be there, to witness history, to be a part of it all. It was absolutely spectacular. Got to see so many good people down there. So many friends down in D.C. It was genuinely spectacular. We're going to go over everything that happened while we were down there. Obviously, we didn't get to do the inauguration like they do in traditional years, but there was a good reason for that. It would not have been well. It would not have been good if it was outside. But a lot happened. Donald Trump signing executive orders left, right, up, down, and center. We're going to go over all the big ones. I signed over 200 last night, just about 200. We're going to go over each and every one of them. The ones that really impact your lives, the ones that really matter. Some of them people are getting very excited about. Some of them people need to pump the brakes on a little bit. And the most extreme people online need to chill out just a bit. Because, hold on, got to ban somebody from the chat. Hold on. Had to ban somebody from the chat. So we're going to go over all of that. Also, the media tries a new hoax with Elon Musk claiming he did a Nazi salute, which he very obviously did not do. Crazy leftists decide that they're going to carry around a guillotine. No one in the media seemed to notice that one. Nobody in the media seemed to notice that Joe Biden pardons his entire family. And Scott Jennings is just absolutely great. We're going to have a lot of fun today. So happy for you guys to join us. Shout out to Jeremy Harrell, Will Johnson, Pete Santilli. They did a great job covering, anchoring the coverage. Let's get this live chat up onto the screen. Let's get the live chat up to say hello to everybody. Shout out to everybody watching who went to the party in Kings Park. Newsday actually covered it. Actually, my uncle was one of the people that they shouted out. Very good, Uncle Richie. What's going on? How are you? Sandra D. What's happening? Jeanette, what's happening? Let's jump right in because for some reason the chat is not. There we go. Every time I put the chat up, for some reason my audio goes back. Get a quick sip of coffee here. Chicky Mama, how are you? Cough, how are you? Kill Sully, what is happening? Regina, hello, everybody. Was anybody in the chat? Were you in DC for it? Let me know if you were in DC for it. It was a hell of a time. Hans Ketchup, what's going on? Watching on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, guys, make sure you hit that like button. Hit the like button, turn the notification bell on so that you get updates whenever we go live. Ding, hit that bad boy. Maybe that'll start working sometime soon. Was anybody there? Was anybody in DC? I want to be clear about a couple. I've never experienced cold like that in my entire life. Not in my entire life. So the fact that they had to cancel the inauguration outside was not great, but it was good anyway. Michelle Dew, how are you? Once again, guys, make sure you're hitting that like button, hit the thumbs up button wherever you're watching. If you're watching on X, do me a favor and repost it. Love the shirt you wore on John Tobacco. Thank you so much. That was good. Thank you. Kimberly went on a bus trip down there. Very good stuff. Very good stuff. I'm happy a lot of you got to be there and got to experience it. But once again, guys, thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're watching on YouTube, turn the notification bell on. We're live every day at 1 p.m. right here. We're the only game in town, so make sure you guys tune it in. If you're watching on Facebook, do me a favor, hit that @ button. Tag your followers so that your friends can see the show as well. So let's dive in. Let's dive into what happened. A lot happened. There was Jeff Bezos' wife, who decided to basically wear nothing the entire time. Everyone talked about that, which I found to be pretty funny. Mark Zuckerberg got caught staring at them. Which, so be it. It was hard to walk around to the different events, yes. That is, I'm going to give a critique to Washington, D.C. for their utter calamity, their utter cluster effery. Nobody seemed to have any idea where anything was, how to get out of the quarantine zone, so to speak. So the area between the Capital One Arena, between the Capitol and the White House, was basically completely closed off. It was like a 50-block radius that it was completely shut down, no traffic whatsoever. And you had to walk everywhere. And I want to be clear, my legs are killing me. They are killing me. My feet are killing me from walking around all the time in dress pants. It was not overwhelmingly great, but it was a hell of a good time. A hell of a good time. Let's get into all of the news of the day. So obviously yesterday, Donald Trump wasting no time. That was my favorite part of the whole inauguration, is that when you saw President Trump speaking, he was basically sitting there going, can we wrap this crap up? I have work to do. I've got work to do. Giddy up. And he wasted virtually no time. So on day one in office, Donald Trump signed a couple hundred executive orders into place. Let's go over a few of them. Number one, declaring a national emergency at the U.S. border. That was obviously number one, the most important one, or for the nation, I would say most important. We'll get to the most important one in a minute. Donald Trump finally declaring that we have an issue down at our border. Very good. Very good. Now we can actually shut that bad boy down. And I want to be clear. There were videos, one in particular, of a migrant woman who was crying because her CBP One app no longer worked and she would not be getting her asylum claim. Now, to a person, I can understand why they would be sad about that. I absolutely can. It is not a shock to me. It should not come as a shock to any of you that every poor person in the world wants to come to America. But we simply cannot do that. I'm sure many of you saw that video, and it was incredibly sad to see. Now, number two, second executive order. Let's pop this up on, where is it? Designating the human trafficking cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. This is a great policy. Why? Because it will allow Donald Trump to avert some of the monies that go to the Pentagon into securing the border and attacking the cartels where they live. Now, do I want an all-out war with Mexico? Absolutely not. However, there is no other way to describe the cartels other than foreign terrorist organizations. Donald Trump also reinstated the Remain in Mexico policy. That was another big one. Now let's get to a controversial one. Not controversial in the fact that I think it should be changed, but controversial in the fact that it will not be changed. Donald Trump signed an executive order ending birthright citizenship for American children of illegal immigrants and children of parents on work, study, or temporary visas. Now, it is very clear, and the ACLU has already sued the Trump administration. They did it basically before the ink was dry on this policy. The 14th Amendment is very clear. If you're born in America, you have American citizenship. Now, I think that ought to be changed. I do not think it can be changed with an executive order. It's going to make its way through the courts. It's going to make its way to the Supreme Court. I still do not believe it is going to be changed. I think a couple may change. I think a couple may vote to change it. However, I do not believe I don't think any president ought to be able to amend the Constitution with a simple swipe of the pen. Now, what does that mean for us? What does that mean for we the people? That means it should be up to us to pass a constitutional amendment to end birthright citizenship. We are one of the only states we are one of the only countries in the world that has it. But it would seem as though it is not a very popular thing to get rid of. Many people oppose it. There's a number of reasons why they would do that. Do I have this? Well, give me 1 second. Here is Donald Trump signing the birthright citizenship removal. As I said, this is already being sued and pressed for in the courts. Here that is. Give me 1 sec.
This next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
Yeah, that's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
What about that one in the courts? That one is likely to be challenged.
Could be. We think we have good grounds, but you could be right. I mean, you'll find out. It's ridiculous. We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. But, we'll see. We have very good grounds.
Sir,
People have wanted to do this for decades.
Sir, this is a proclamation declaring a national...
Now, look, I want to be clear about birthright, and I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear. The reason why birthright citizenship was put into the Constitution in the first place was to protect newly freed slaves following the Civil War. Slaves are brought over here. They were born here. They needed to get They needed to become citizens in order to have whatever rights were then granted in following the passage of the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment. Now, has that been abused by, there's no other term to use, anchor babies? Yes, 1,000%. I don't think, and this is of course the scenario, I don't think that, like, let's say the child of Chinese Communist Party leaders ought to come to America, pop out a kid, that kid becomes a citizen, and then can become president. Because that's a good way to end a country within 5 or 6, within one generation. I don't think that's something we should do here. As a matter of fact, to all the lefties out there that are watching, when you do the Bernie Sanders impression, where you talk about every modern country in the world has got human rights, blah, 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 healthcare is a right. When you do that, remember that most of those Nordic countries, most European countries, Japan, Australia, do not just offer citizenship to anybody that lands on the shore. America, for decades, for years, for centuries, has had the most liberal and the most welcoming immigration system of any Western country in the world. We choose to have that. We ought to have the right to change, to get rid of it. Now, as I said, the ACLU has already sued. I don't think this will stand. I don't think it'll stand. I think you're going to have some sort of a constitutional amendment or an act of Congress passed in order to get this one done. That's just my opinion on that one. Some people may not like that, but like I said, I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear. Let's keep moving on to the rest of the executive orders. Here's a wild one. A wild one. Did you guys know there are only 2 genders? It is amazing to me that the majority of the executive orders that Donald Trump signed yesterday, all it does is take us back to the way everyone thought like 10 years ago. Men and women are the only recognized genders by the United States military. Absolutely. Donald Trump has removed all DEI programs from the federal government. That shouldn't be a problem to go through. He is leaving the Paris Climate Accords. Very nice. Very nice. Now, why? Do I not care? Do I not care about the climate and the planet? Of course I do. However, the stated goals of the Paris Climate Accord are either unattainable or unrealistic. If America got rid of all of its carbon pollution tomorrow, it would quite literally have no impact on this. However, getting rid of our entire carbon system would decimate the American economy. But more than that, it signals to the globalists that we are done with you. We are done with your We are done with your economic forums, and we are done with your global initiatives. Another executive order he signed into law was leaving the World Health Organization, something we should not be in at all to begin with. Seems to me that should make a little bit of sense. He's also planning on implementing Schedule F to reduce the job protections for potentially thousands of federal employees. Now, if you're not doing your job, you ought to be fired. This should not come as a shock to anybody. Now, one thing that people have really been upset by, a little bit upset with, is the fact that it seems as though if you're a federal employee, you have to go back to work.
Sir, the next item, as you announced in your speech, is a requirement that federal workers return to full-time in-person work immediately.
I just have to say, above all else, I love the fact that he holds up every one of them. Like he holds up every one of them like a kid showing his parents, like he's doing a school project. I do love that. I do love the tact on that one. Very good stuff. Let's keep moving forward with the executive orders that were signed. We're going to get into all the big ones, guys. Don't worry about that. He's also ending the federal regulations encouraging the sale of electric cars, which is good. Look, if you want an electric car, go get one. That's nice. Go do it. Some people who don't drive all that much would very much benefit from having an electric car. If you're only going to the store and back, you're going to your kid's house back and forth, maybe you don't need a combustible engine. Maybe you really like Teslas. Maybe you're one of those people out there who have convinced yourself that the Cybertruck looks good, which it doesn't. Elon, I love you to death. I do. It's really ugly. It's just really ugly. Not only is it gigantic, but it's not easy on the eyes. But if you want one, go and get it. And the problem with many of these EV mandates is that it sets back the American ingenuity. On this show, you've heard me talk an awful lot about how if you look at Tokyo, you're going to see a lot of Toyotas. You're going to see a lot of Asian cars. If you look at Europe, you're going to see a lot of Mercedes-Benz, BMWs, Audis. You're not going to see any Fords. You're not going to see any GMs or Chevrolets. You're not going to see any of those. I would like to see one of these American companies, Ford, General Motors, any of them, actually bring their manufacturing back here and see on every construction site a Ford F-150 or a Dodge Ram or a Silverado. I'd like to see that instead of a Toyota Tundra or that Honda truck that's actually really nice. I would like us to begin exporting these things like we used to do before we allowed the world to take over what we created here in America. Another executive order, which is just funny as hell, renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Now, I want to make it very clear to everyone involved here, I'm going to do my best to say the Gulf of America instead of the Gulf of Mexico, but what you should be aware of is that I still call it Shea Stadium, even though Citi Field has been open for like 17 years. So it's going to take a little while to get that out of the lexicon. Now, this is a 5D chess move. Many people, idiots out there, will say things like, this is dumb. Who cares what the name is? Well, I'm going to tell you why it matters. Because before leaving office, Joe Biden decided to put a moratorium on all drilling offshore in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, it's no longer the Gulf of Mexico. So we can drill, baby, drill. We can drill all we want off that coast because we're no longer drilling off the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. We're drilling off the coast of the Gulf of America. Moreover, I just like it. I just like it, you know? It upset all the right people, so let's do it. Also, Donald Trump re-added Cuba to the state sponsors of terrorism list. Not really a fan of that one. I got to be honest with you. I don't know why we're doing that, but so be it. They are re-added. So if you're into good cigars, I guess you're just gonna have to get them the old-fashioned way by buying them from Mexico. Also, he established Doge. And there's giant news coming out of the Doge department. Before we get to that, guys, hit the like button if you're watching on Facebook. Hit that @ button. Tag your followers so that they can be watching this as well. If you're watching on YouTube, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Hit the like button. Hit the notification bell. Bing. That way you get notified when we go live every day at 1 p.m. If you're watching on Rumble, do me a favor and hit that like button. I'm liking it. We got big numbers coming throughout the day. Fireboss wins. Comment of the day. I am exhausted from all of this winning. I'm getting tired. I'm getting sick and tired of all the winning, okay? Day one. Donald Trump ain't messing around. And it's good because that's what we voted for. And too many people are under this weird impression that for some reason we shouldn't get exactly what we asked for. But that's what we got. So guys, do me a favor. Once again, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, hit the follow button, wherever you may be following. Also, do me a favor and make sure you're following the Loud Majority page. Do me a favor. Click, let me see. Put it in caps so you can see this name. Hit that follow button. Before we keep rocking and rolling today, guys, head on over to lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. That's your home base, your mothership, your landing pad for all things LFA TV related. Check out the LFA TV store. And while you guys are there, consider becoming a monthly donor over to LFA TV. That's the best way to keep this network rocking and rolling and rocking. Also, shout out once again to Jeremy Harrell, Will Johnson, Pete Santilli for the phenomenal coverage while the inauguration was going on. I know Jeremy was disappointed he wasn't able to be in D.C. for it because he was here covering it for the network. But, Jeremy, at least you got to be warm. At least you got to be warm because, as I'm sure Will Johnson will go over later, there was just no staying warm. It just wasn't going to happen. For anybody who was down there, you know exactly what I'm talking about, the calamity that went on down there. So, Donald Trump has implemented Doge, baby. Here it is. Here he is signing that. And we're going to talk about Doge in a minute.
Get it done.
This is an order creating and implementing the Department of Governmental Efficiency, known as Doge.
Okay, that's a big one.
Is Elon Musk going to get a West Wing office?
No, he's getting an office for about 20 people that we're hiring to make sure that these get implemented. We have a problem in this country. You sign an executive order, it doesn't get done for 6 months. As an example, when we allow the J6 hostages to go out, it might not be approved under the old days for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 months. You know, they had a good ruling from the Supreme Court, and it's like nothing happened. That ruling was 6 months.
Now, look, the point of Doge, and I just want to show you guys something quick. Before we get to that, I want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, Mike Zimbricki. Check out these bad boys, everybody. Can you guys see that? There is my, let me lean forward a little bit here. There is my inauguration ticket that I was unable to use. Apparently, I had some pretty good seats. That I was unable to use. But, once again, shout out to Mike Zimbricki for hooking me up with that great souvenir. After 4 years of doing a shitload of work for free for a lot of people, here it is. That's what it was all for, baby. That's what it was all for. So, shout out to Mike. Thank you so much for recognizing the work. I can't wait to throw that in a frame somewhere up on here. It was a great, great day. So let's talk about Doge. Because it seems as though Vivek Ramaswamy is out at Doge. Why? Well, there's been multiple reports. Apparently, he's been a bit of a pain in the ass over there at the White House, which I could absolutely see. I could absolutely see that. There's also reports that he's going to be running for governor of Ohio. By the way, shout out If we're going to talk Ohio, I got to bring it up. OHIO, baby. Shout out to the Ohio State Buckeyes for winning the national championship. I do sort of feel bad for them because I feel like nobody cared that the national championship game was going on. To the person who decided to book the national championship on the same day as the presidential inauguration, you need to be fired. I mean, that's the only thing anybody in the world was talking about over the last couple of days, and you decided to book the national championship on the exact same day. So shout out to everybody in Ohio, in the Buckeye State. Shout out to Lindenhurst's own Jeremy Recker. Young guy here, played for Ohio State, now plays for the Jets. I'm sure you guys are all very excited about that. Shout out to Sammy Perhalis, good friend from high school, played at Ohio State. Big stuff there. Actually, before we get to Doge, there was actually a really funny moment since we're on the topic of Ohio. Apparently, after the game, the head coach, the quarterback, and their top wide receiver were involved in some sort of an accident with a golf cart. Could you imagine? You just win the national championship. You just win the national championship. And then this happens.
Ryan J., you deserve it, brother. Thank you. Thank you. It's okay. It's okay.
It's over. We're close, you guys. Come on. I'm so sorry.
Howard.
Everybody okay? Everybody okay?
Good.
Everyone good?
I'm not going to be the one to say it. However, there was a woman behind the wheel. Look, I'm not, yell at me in the chat all you want. I'm just saying, probably wouldn't have happened if a guy was driving. So shout out to everybody from Ohio. I can't wait to see the chat light up with rude comments about that. So Vivek Ramaswamy, some of the chat are getting it. Some of the chat is getting it. ZBM, what's up? Can my boy Marshall get a shout out? It's his 6th birthday today. Well, Marshall, happy birthday, buddy. Happy birthday, buddy. Up there in what I assume is the frozen tundra of Idaho. Some people are very upset. Hazel Kitty said it for me. Happy birthday, Marshall. Many more, my friend. Many more. 6 years old. Damn. Jim Cricket, we don't have to ask what a woman is anymore, my friend, because the government has decided to let us know that there's only men and women. So if you're not a man, you're a woman. There you go. Bingo, bango. Happy birthday, Marshall. Kevin's so mean. Sorry, Deborah. It's such is life. I like that some people are understanding that this is a joke. I like that some people are getting that this is a joke. So Vivek Ramaswamy, let's get back to Doge. Vivek Ramaswamy is out at Doge. He's going to be running for the governor of Ohio. Now, look, Elon Musk had said that the goal of Doge was to cut $1 trillion out of the federal budget. Now, do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. Probably not. $1 trillion is a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money. However, if we can begin implementing some of these steps, I think it'll go over well. Look, every little bit's going to help when it comes to cutting the budget, cutting this deficit. I tell everybody this all the time, that it took decades to build this sort of infrastructure that's bloated, that's unbelievably bloated, and where we fund nonsense projects overseas. This is not going to happen quickly, guys. This is not going to be something that's going to be easy. It's going to be some pain involved in it. However, I think this is a good first step in beginning to cut out some of the bloat. A lot of people want things to happen overnight, and they're just not going to, even when the president says so. And we're going to get to that in 1 minute. Before we do, that guy's Mike Lindell.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets, sleepwear, dog
Whoa,
beds.
whoa, Charles. Everyone now can get MyPillow products at huge discounts at MyPillow.com. That's right. Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our 3-in-1 sale. We're bringing you exciting new products, overstock specials, and closeout deals you won't find anywhere else. For example, when you buy one of our brand new MyPillow 2.0s, you get another one absolutely free. And with our overstock sale, you save 50% on our luxurious Giza Dream bed sheets. That's as low as $29.99 for the best sheets ever. And with our biggest closeout special, you get our all-season slippers for only $35. Or our sandals and slides for just $25. Quantities are limited, and once they're gone. You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets, sleepwear, dog
Whoa,
beds.
whoa, Charles. Everyone now can get MyPillow products at huge discounts at MyPillow.com. That's right. Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our 3-in-1 sale. We're bringing you exciting new products, overstock specials, and closeout deals you won't find anywhere else. For example, when you buy one of our brand new MyPillow 2.0s, you get another one absolutely free. And with our overstock sale, you save 50% on our luxurious Giza Dream bed sheets. That's as low as $29.99 for the best sheets ever. And with our biggest closeout special, you get our all-season slippers for only $35. Or our sandals and slides for just $25. Quantities are limited, and once they're gone.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. Let's keep on rocking and rolling in because obviously I want to get to the big one, the big one that has really ruffled all the feathers. All the feathers are ruffled. And, of course, that would be the pardoning of nearly 1,500 January 6th defendants. We heard during the campaign that they would look at this on a case-by-case basis. Now, I always thought that was kind of silly. Because how the hell are they ever going to implement that? I mean, just to look through 1,500 cases, that seems like a lot of work. That seems like it could take a while to go through 1,500 cases, each one individually. Donald Trump has since issued sweeping pardons for all of the January 6th defendants. So I just got to say out loud right now, just to a couple of people, there you go. They are free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, free at last. Here was the first person to be released from the January 6th, from the first prisoner to be released from the jails last night. Let's pop this right up real quick. Boom.
It almost hasn't hit me yet, really, you know. I feel like I still have an ankle bracelet on. I got to go back anytime soon. But it's also very bittersweet because I know that these men should have been released the same time I was. And, you know, maybe it's the Army in me, but I don't like the idea of leaving anybody behind. So I knew that my responsibility was to be here. I drove 4.5 hours in the middle of the night. I haven't slept yet, so I could be here now because that's what these men deserve. They deserve a group of men and women out here showing them that they are heroes and that they haven't suffered in vain. And I know that this is where I belong right now.
Perfect.
So what people would do is they would go to the Trump.
So today is very frustrating. Last night I was released from the Pittsburgh halfway house at 11:45 p.m. There's absolutely no reason that part in the Donald Trump sign for 1,500 people didn't apply to everybody that's inside these walls now. So as you can see, there's a good collection of people that are out here demanding that these individuals be released. There's innocent men being held behind prison walls. And in fact, the jail is more guilty of violating the law than the people that are there as January 6th political prisoners. So we're excited. As you can see, they're rolling out the tape. So we're hoping that means that these guys are going to be coming out very soon. And we're hoping that, we can greet these individuals as the heroes that they are, the sacrificial lambs that they are. And we're actually excited that January 6th ended in such a poetic and beautiful way that it did, because this has actually energized the MAGA movement to want to unify as a country and get rid of Marxist doctrine from here on out. So it's a cool time to be alive, because what we saw in 2024 was a mandate be delivered by the American people. We're done with communism. We're done with the chaos of a failed regime that Biden tried to force us to submit to, and we have every right and responsibility to show up to the Capitol when the American people have had enough.
The American people have had enough. Here actually is a friend of the show, and a quick shout out. Gotta make sure I give my shout outs where they are due. Shout out to our boy Paul Ingrassia, who has been named the White House liaison to the Justice Department. Here, Paul was looking awful spiffy last night, making the announcement that the January 6th prisoners would begin being freed.
Speak loud. Speak.
Can you say that again?
Have been
First
released.
2 January 6th defendants have been released.
First 2?
This is a few hours after President Trump signs his historic pardon. Andrew Valentine, Matthew Valentine, they've been released from the D.C. jail behind us, and we'll be taking them home. So it's a really monumental moment in our history.
Are they leaving tonight?
And they will be leaving tonight from this prison behind me.
Where are they now?
Very soon.
Woo!
Whoa!
It's a great moment in our history.
Your name, please. What's your name?
My name is Paul Ingrassia. I'm the White House liaison to the Justice Department.
White House liaison.
And we're here with Chris and Justin, also at the White House. Many people within the administration, know about this. Elon Musk knew a lot about this and was the mastermind behind it. So the first 2 are released. This injustice is ending in America tonight, and this dark chapter in our country's history is coming to an end.
Amen.
So,
Can you repeat the names of the defendants?
When are the rest coming out?
When will the rest
Repeat the names of the defendants.
When all January the 6th prisoners be out tonight?
These are the only 2 I'm aware of at this prison behind me.
Could you repeat the names of the defendants?
Their names are Matthew Valentine and Andrew Valentine.
Could you repeat your name, please?
My name is Paul Ingrassia.
Could you spell your last name?
Ingrassia. That's really all the information I have at this moment.
Can't hear you.
I don't have a microphone. I'm sorry. This is all I have. Yeah.
Come on, baby. You got to speak louder, Paul. To hell with him. To hell with him, bro. They can go watch it on Alia Scootercast, this thing afterwards. Like the rest of us. So shout out to Paul, good friend of the show, board member of the club, now working at the White House. You deserve it, buddy. Me and Paul love to break each other's balls. So, it's a good time. I'm happy for him. So the J6 prisoners are beginning to be free. Now, with that being said, is this going to take longer than it should? Absolutely. Why? Because the government does not want to release these people. They're going to take their sweet ass time. Not everybody is out. Nancy, that's funny. Maybe if they listen to me, they'd already know Paul. Yeah, you're damn right. I have everybody on before they're famous. One day it'll happen for me. Look, not everyone is out yet. It's going to take some time. But the process has begun. And I'm happy that the process has begun. Because things are starting to feel different, okay? I want to make that very clear. If I got one takeaway from being in D.C. over the course of this weekend, if I had one takeaway, it was the fact that the energy, the feeling in the room was just different. It was just different. It felt different. People were energized. People were excited. People were optimistic for the future. And people need that because you know what? When it comes to, I don't know, pride in America, when it comes to that sort of feeling, I don't know, there was just an optimism in the room. Things just felt different. Every room you walked into, you felt like there was hope. You felt like there was a new beginning. And it was really nice to see. I got to meet so many people down there. Got to see so many friends. My friends David Pollack and Mark Naughton and so many phenomenal journalists, Scott Pressler and Alex Zeke and so many great people. I ran into one guy. I ran into one guy down there who you might know. You might know if you watch this show. I often say he is the only reason to watch CNN. I even told him that when he retires, I want his job, which was pretty funny. I got to meet Scott Jennings outside. Scott Jennings, the only reason to watch CNN. Got to meet him outside of the Washington Hotel. Awesome guy. Really cool guy. Scott Jennings, of course, the only reason somebody should ever watch CNN. Here he was talking about how it just feels like we're back, baby.
Well, watching Donald Trump's day today, I'm just struck by the fact that we have a president again. I mean, look at this guy's day. 3 speeches, 196 executive actions, holds a 90-minute press conference narrating each one as he goes along. I mean, Joe Biden could not and would not offer the kind of transparency or vigor to the American people that we got here on day one from Trump. And tonight, Trump's going to throw on a tux and go to 3 balls. I mean, he's having an active day. I think it's going to be a massive amount of contrast here for a presidency like what we're going to see out of Trump and versus what we've had out of Biden. I was watching Trump today, and Van and I were talking earlier today, watching him walk down the hall of the Capitol, and the words that came to mind to me were gritty, resilient, determined, and audacious. There's not like a more perfect advertisement for the value of these qualities in modern America. I mean, you think about all the things that happened to him. Winning, losing, the court cases, nearly being assassinated. It's rather audacious what he has accomplished, winning this election and taking office today. And you said you were in shock. Well, Republicans are in awe.
What about the pardons? What's your take on that?
Here's what I think. Were these people punished? Yes. Were they ruined financially? Yes. Did they spend time in jail? Yes. Have their lives been ruined? Absolutely. And one of you said earlier, Van or Axe, that you think this sends a terrible signal that you can get away with things like this, as though we've never had a moment in recent American history when people were not punished for rampaging around when they shouldn't have been. It was the summer of 2020. And these people were actually punished. Those people were never even charged.
Hey, that's not true at all.
That's not true. Most charges were not.
Let him answer. But I do see it differently in that I don't like it when people tear up buildings at all. I'm not a part of some pro-riot, pro-crime lobby.
Yeah, but you can't name a single person that burned down Portland. You can't name a single person that set fire to St. John's Church. You can't name a single person that firebombed the White House 3 weeks before January 6th, Van Jones. So save me your crap. Save me your crap. Here was the official signing of the J6 pardons.
Relating to events that occurred on January 6th, 2021.
Okay, and how many people is this?
I think this order will apply to approximately 1,500 people, sir.
So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Yes.
Full pardon.
Full pardon.
Full pardon. We have about 6 commutations in there where we're doing further research. Nice to see you again. So this is a big one. Anything you want to explain about this? We hope they get them. We hope they come out tonight, frankly. They're expecting it.
It's just, once again, I like that he, take your pictures, everyone. I do kind of like that. Look, this is going to upset a lot of people. Everyone got pardoned. Virtually everyone, I think. Right the way that from Enrique Tarrio and Joey Biggs at the top, right down to the people who hadn't quite been sentenced yet. And look, this is going to be the educational part of the show, because even if, let's say, and this is the part I want you to remember when you talk to your ridiculous sister-in-law or your coworker who doesn't understand things at work. As a matter of fact, actually, I'll tell you a story in a second that I just saw on Facebook that actually bothered me a lot, because a person I once thought was intelligent is actually quite dumb. But even if you know somebody who believes that this was an insurrection against the government and they were trying to take it over, even if you know somebody who believes all that, let's give them some historical precedent, okay? Washington pardoned everyone involved in the Whiskey Rebellion. An armed conflict against the United States by people who didn't want to pay a tax. So it's not the first time. Well, it's the second time then. No, it's not. President Johnson pardoned everyone involved in the Confederacy. Everyone, from General Lee to Jefferson Davis. Right the way down the entire ranks. Why? Because it was time to come together and it was time to heal. I'm sorry. Even if you believe, even if you're somebody who believes the partisan nonsense of the mainstream media, you are not going to convince me somebody should get 4 years in jail for trespassing, which is what the majority of the people were charged with. You are not going to convince me that a person ought to get 22 years like Enrique Tarrio when he wasn't even in town. They gave Enrique Tarrio 22 years because he sent a text message that said, "Don't leave." And that's it. That's it. I'm not saying you have to like any of the people. What I'm saying is that you are not going to convince me a grandmother from Alaska who was taking pictures on the Capitol steps, never even went in, gets 18 months in jail. I'm sorry. You're not going to convince me of that. Meanwhile, you got people out there raping and pillaging and murdering, and they walk out with a slap on the wrist. You're not going to convince me of either one of those things. But Democrats will try and convince you of that. So I'm very excited to know that many of these people, that many of these people are out. Many of them are on their way out, apparently, as of now. I've got Brianna Morello up here who's followed this. I got to meet Brianna. Good friend. I got to meet her at the OAN building. Hello, Brianna. How are you? She's been following this intensely. Apparently, Enrique Tarrio has not been released from prison just yet. But many of these people are on their way. Many of them are on their way, and it's a great day. It's a great, great day. It's time for us to move forward. It's time for us to begin getting things done. But on his way out the door, Joe Biden couldn't have that. On his way out the door, Joe Biden could not have that, as he pardoned a whole slew of his relatives. We're going to get to that in 1 second. Before we do that, guys, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. We are rocking. We are rolling here. We're getting better than ever. Let's pop this up. All new Donald Trump merch, baby. New merch for a new year on the Loud Majority website. Super excited about that. You can get the Heroes Get Remembered, but Legends Never Die t-shirt. We've still got the inauguration stuff up if you want that. Also, if you are a Scotch drinker like me, I'm just saying, if you are somebody who partakes in a little single malt, you're going to want to pick up the Donald Trump Scotch glasses. Very, very nice stuff. I don't even know when the hell those went on the website. The person who makes these just can't stop, won't stop, and I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Also, I'm very excited to announce we are going to be having a slew of new guests on the show over the course of the next several weeks. I'm very excited about that. Guys, look, check this out. Send your kids to school looking good. What do we got here? Look at this, the Raised Right t-shirt. Come on. Come on. Who doesn't want this? Who doesn't want this, guys? Go to loudmajorityusa.com, sign up for the newsletter, check out our shop. That is the best way to support this show and everything we've got going on over here. All the new merch is out there. Once again, guys, hit that thumbs up button. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the like button. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the notification bell, please. That's the best way to support the show. We go live every day, 1 p.m. Giddy up. Let's go. Make sure you guys are following all of the pages. Make sure you're following my page on here, as we got 1,200 people watching. I think I'm going over today. I think I'm doing a longer show today. I'll see how long I can go for. We shall see. We'll see what we got here in the tank. See what we got here in the tank. So Joe Biden, on his way out the door, decided to pardon all of his relatives. Now, I want to be clear. There's a lot of you can't say misinformation anymore, because when you say misinformation, you sound like an asshole. But there's a couple of things about pardons that people need to know. Number one, you don't have to accept a pardon, because when you accept a pardon, you admit guilt. It is not a blanket catch-all. We'll just forget about everything. It's saying that you did something. So Joe Biden, on his way out the door, pardoned his entire family, which, if they accept those pardons, a number of things can happen after that. Will they go to jail for any of those crimes? No, they will not. That will be them being excused from those crimes. However, if they were to testify, if they were to be called by some committee, they can no longer plead the fifth. They must answer every single question given to them, because the Fifth Amendment says you can't incriminate yourself. But you've been issued a pardon, so nothing you say can incriminate you, because you have already been acquitted of that crime. Will we get the truth? Will the truth finally come out? It's entirely possible. The truth is almost as important as them actually going away for what they did. Here was more people. Here is more discussion about the Biden pardons.
Have you ever heard...
Oh, no. I'm sorry. That's not that clip. This is a compilation of MSNBE posts, of multiple CNN commentators talking about the idea of presumptive pardons for the January 6th stuff when Donald Trump was in office, that now they don't seem to care so much about.
Have you ever heard of somebody getting a preemptive pardon who was innocent of all crime? Who's just an innocent person? Have you ever heard of that? Just somebody getting a blanket pardon and they're an innocent person?
But no, it's the president's own family. It's people that have been covering up for the president in addition to his own family.
Is there an innocent explanation for someone to seek preemptive pardons for family members? Would you do that if you knew you were innocent and just worried about outside forces?
The answer to that is going to be no. If you haven't done anything wrong, you sit there and go, what do you need a preemptive pardon for?
If he pardons people preemptively, he's essentially telling the public that these people have committed crimes. And we may not be aware of what they are, but the pardon is clear evidence that crimes have been committed.
I imagine if he decides to issue these preemptive pardons, it will be cast in a way that he is protecting his family and protecting their reputations from, villainous exterior forces that are against him.
First off, we should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity of a president who's so clearly concerned about his own criminal culpability and that of his family members that pardons are a major obsession with him.
The idea of a kind of prospective pardon, this sort of permanent federal get-out-of-jail-free card, that seems to be what we're talking about in the case of this, right, with Giuliani and his 3 eldest children who, as far as we know, have not been convicted of a crime. Maybe they've committed a lot, and they don't want to face action. I don't know. It's weird. I wouldn't ask for a pardon. I don't think I deserve one because I don't think I've done anything criminal. But, like, where does that come from, that concept that you can just kind of wave your magic pardon wand?
We have Tish James. We have Xavier Becerra. Mimi Roca is literally my DA in my town. There will be opportunities to prosecute these people regardless if they abuse the pardon power as they are thinking.
Hopefully. I want to be clear. No one in politics works as hard as the top button on that guy's shirt. But Democrats don't seem to mind the glaring abuse, the glaring hypocrisy when Joe Biden does it. But now, we've got some problems. And Democrats are even having a harder time defending some of these pardons. As a matter of fact, one person Joe Biden pardoned apparently is an extremely violent felon. But Cory Booker, Mr. Potato Head, who's only famous for dating Rosario Dawson, even he couldn't defend it.
On that point, I want to get you to respond to this, because what I'm already hearing from people who work for Trump and are his allies is that there's really no leg for the Democrats don't have a leg to stand on, because President Biden leaving today, issued a raft of pardons, including for his own family members and his sister and his brothers and their spouses, and then also for an activist, an elderly activist who is convicted of killing 2 FBI agents. Chris Wray did not even want him to commute that sentence that President Biden did today. They say that doesn't give Democrats an argument here to criticize these pardons. What is your response to that?
I mean, I think that's the mistake we're seeing now, is people trying to reduce this to tribalism. This is not about Democrat or Republican. Joe Biden pardoned a lot of people. Yeah, he should answer for that and explain what he did and his reasoning. But the people he pardoned, his family members, did not, before the naked public eye, beat police officers, try to overthrow our government, lead to the death of police officers, and have injuries, scars, both visible and invisible, on police officers that are still affecting their lives today.
Mr. Potato Head can't even justify it himself. It's shocking to me. All Joe Biden did was, by pardoning his family, was let us know that we were right all along. That the Biden crime family was not some sort of was not some kind of hyperbole. That it was true. That it was true all along. Guys, we are rocking and rolling here into the second hour of Loud Majority Live. Keep it locked in right here. I'm going to be covering for Will Johnson for a little bit here. I've been asked to keep on going, which is good, because I certainly have a lot more stuff that I'd like to talk about. I certainly have a lot more stuff that I'd like to talk about as we keep rocking and rolling here, guys. Real quick, Mike Lindell.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets, sleepwear.
Whoa, Charles. Everyone now can get MyPillow products at huge discounts at MyPillow.com. That's right. Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our 3-in-1 sale. We're bringing you exciting new products, overstock specials, and closeout deals you won't find anywhere else. For example, when you buy one of our brand new MyPillow 2.0s, you get another one absolutely free. And with our overstock sale, you save 50% on our luxurious Giza Dream bed sheets. That's as low as $29.99 for the best sheets ever. And with our biggest closeout special, you get our all-season slippers for only $35. Or our sandals and slides for just $25. Quantities are limited, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Guys, once again, head on over to MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. For up to 80% off everything on the website. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. Let's get that live chat up on the screen. Want to say hello to everybody. Once again, filling in here for a second hour. Filling in for Will Johnson real quick. I'm not sure what happened, but I've been asked to stick around. And alas, I am here for you all. I am here for you all because we absolutely have more to talk about. We got to talk about General Milley and the January 6th committee and Anthony Fauci, all people who got pardons, and I really don't understand why. 'Cause it turns out the only people that need to be pardoned are people who have done nothing wrong. Yeah, I ran out of coffee, so I guess we'll see how this second hour goes. Guys, hit that thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place because we got to talk about media hoaxes. We got to talk about some nonsense media hoaxes. One media hoax that I'm sure you guys haven't even heard yet today because it's just breaking at this hour. Apparently, there is some pastor. I don't know who this is. Some woke pastor decided to lecture the President of the United States in the National Cathedral just today. Let's pull this up real. This is wild. I don't know where this when I say pastor, I don't know how this person became a pastor, but check this out.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land. May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our...
I mean, where do you get the stones? And, like, I want to be clear, like, how inappropriate, like, to do that. Listen here, sweetheart. You want to use your bully pulpit to do something like that? Run for office, okay? That's not your job. And that is going to be the tone and the tenor of the Donald Trump administration. It is going to be staying in your lane. Do what you do. If you are a person of faith and you preach the word of God, then do that. I don't play chess. I don't like chess. I think it's boring. I suck at it. So I'm not going to teach people how to play chess. I am not as... All right, here we go. We'll take this network, for example. I am not as well versed on the Bible as Jeremy or Will. So I don't talk about it. It's not because I don't believe. It's not because I don't have it. It's because I don't want to talk about something I don't understand. So when you hear something like that coming from a pastor, coming from someone who is supposed to be in a religious setting, to my mind, that's just out of control. Where do you get off doing that? Also, hun, you bring up the LGBT stuff. You might want to reopen the book. I think there might be some stuff in the Bible about that. I guess you missed those verses. I don't know. That is the tone and tenor of all of this. It is going to be the staying in your lane necessity of this administration. That's like I've said with all of Trump's appointees. I don't like every policy they have on every single issue. But if they're willing to stay in their lane and focus on what they focus on, then we should be good. I don't need the Department of the Interior talking about health. I don't need the guy running the health department to talk about our national parks. I need people to stay in their lanes. If Bobby Kennedy starts coming out and talking about banning guns, I'm going to tell him to shut up and go back to banning red dye number 5 or whatever the hell it is he's doing. Each person has a skill set. Each person has an expertise. And they need more of that. One thing we definitely need more of is to find out all that happened in the previous administration, because we are starting to get reports out now that it turns out every Democrat knew how bad Joe Biden truly was. And when I say this, what I'm trying to say is that we all knew that they knew, but now the media is starting to catch on to this. They're starting to catch on to the fact that they were all lied to. And hopefully some of them start to get a little bit pissed off about it. Hopefully some of them start to understand that they got embarrassed by this administration because they were doing their bidding, because they were the mouthpiece for the ruling class. We're going to get to that in 1 second. Before we do that, guys, hit that thumbs up button, share the video out, share it out, share it out, share it out. Once again, we are rolling into our number dose of Loud Majority Live. Click this name. Follow this page. Boom. Thank you all so much. I do appreciate that in the live chat, if you guys wouldn't mind doing that. Click on my name. Hit that follow button. I really do appreciate it. I really do. As I'm trying to grow my thing here. Why Kevin did not see for themselves. I don't know what that means. Once again, guys, hit the thumbs up button. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the notification button. We are live every day at 1 p.m. here, 1 p.m. Eastern time on all the pages, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on every single one of them. If you're watching on X, do me a favor, repost the video. Let's keep rocking. Let's keep rolling, because now we're starting to get more about just how diminished Joe Biden was. Here's Scott Jennings.
For Trump to continue to say he won the 2020 election.
So what? Are you saying
that
he can alter the past by saying
no,
what he
I'm
thinks?
giving you an example of what we're talking about. And so when
I'm sorry, Bakari, your party just engaged in the biggest cover-up in modern American political history on Joe Biden. It's all coming out. We all now know that every Democrat knew it, and you and everybody else came on TV and lied about this man's condition. I don't want to hear it. Well, the Biden cover-up is the worst thing we've seen in this country in your or my lifetime.
First of all,
in political misinformation.
That is hyperbolic. And
it is not.
But it's not only hyperbolic, but it's actually incorrect. And yes, I mean, I wish I hadn't been around the president. I wish I would have known that he was not in the condition that he was.
Do you not have a television and eyes and ears?
First of all, I didn't see it until the debate.
We work on TV. He's on TV all the time.
But you also just want to sit here and say that is the biggest of misinformation we've seen, the biggest cover-up, the most hyperbolic and sensationalized incident that we've had in American political history in you and ours generation or lifetime. When you sat here on January 6th and did not believe that the person right there should be president of the United States or run again in his human lifetime.
It was a terrible day. It was a terrible day.
So we're going to sensationalize this, because I can actually sit here honestly and say that whoever covered up his infirmity in the White House, whether or not he is going downhill fast or taking pills for whatever it is, early onset Alzheimer's, dementia, whatever Joe Biden's going through, people who knew about it and covered it up, they should be able to have their day and have their consequences and accountability.
They just had it on election day.
All I'm asking you for is that same, because 140 officers were injured. People were killed that day on January 6th. So for you to sit here and say that is the biggest cover-up, I would simply say that people saw with their own eyes people storming the Capitol, and that as well is an issue that this president is going to usher in and wipe away.
Here's what I lived through. 4 years of Trump, then I lived through January 6th, then I lived through 4 years of Biden, and me and tens of millions of Americans processed all of it and went running back to Donald Trump, because you cannot put the same people back in charge who just ran the country off into the ditch.
What you just said outside of the ditch part is actually a fact. But if you're going to sit here and minimize
it, we'll get out of it tomorrow.
That's fine, whatever. But if you're going to minimize January 6th right?
I'm not minimizing it, but I have to take it in with everything else I know.
No, I'm saying back in, we were talking about disinformation and misinformation, and you accused me and everybody else of a cover-up when you sat here and minimalized January 6th. All I'm saying is, listen,
I'm saying
it's your,
it happened, and
my bad.
and
I didn't mean to touch you, Scott.
Right.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
You're doing it again.
Let me tell the viewers something about these two. They actually really like each other, and then
I don't really care if they like each other, but Scott Jennings is absolutely right. All of the people that perpetrated this fraud against the American people should be held accountable for it. And the media is now trying to commit another fraud against each and every one of you. Except it didn't really work out so well this time. It turns out Elon Musk, for all of his brilliance, is kind of weird. He's kind of weird, and sometimes he does some really, really weird stuff. So, he was giving a speech, and he made an arm movement that some people tried to claim was a Nazi salute. And Erin Burnett on CNN, she just couldn't handle it. Listen to her try to perpetrate this one. This went downhill pretty quick.
They're fully engaged. He is a hero. He is a hero to them. I just want to look at that salute that he gave again. Just if anybody missed it, we'll just show it again. He's just wrapped up here. You can hear there. All right, so we just showed that. We just showed that.
Right. It's worth salute. It was quick. I think our viewers are smart and they can take a look at that. But it certainly was. It's not something that you typically see at American political rallies. Put it that way.
No, it was not something that you usually would see. And it was quick, as you point out. It was very quick, but it was in a moment of intensity for him as he came out dancing, and then he did that. He is a hero here.
Now, will I admit that probably doesn't look all that great? Sure, it definitely doesn't look great. It absolutely doesn't look good. However, we also should remember that sometimes, oh, shit. What is that? Oh, no. Funny, Erin Burnett didn't say, oh, shit, what happened there? How'd that get up there? Yeah, no, nothing to see here, everybody. Media trying to perpetuate another ridiculous racial hoax on everybody. But that's just what the media does. And nobody seems, and it just moved on. It just kept going. Thankfully, they moved away from that after they very obviously seen that it wasn't working. Guys, in just a minute, we're going to be joined by a good friend of mine. He's an investigative journalist, and I want to be clear about this. He is, he's one of the best reporters I know. He's probably one of the best reporters out there you've never heard of. He's a former investigative journalist for Project Veritas. Speaking of media hoaxes, he certainly is not a purveyor of that. And if you guys have any tips, I want to make sure James Lalino gets them. He's one of my best friends. We're going to be joined by him in just 1 second. Before we do, guys, once again, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button. If you're watching on YouTube, turn on the notification bell so that you get notified every single time we go live. Every time we go live. If you're watching on Rumble, let's see, do we still got we still got 1,300 watching live. I'm liking it. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit it up. Also, before we go to James, anybody looking to get involved in local politics, anybody looking to get involved here on Long Island, please do shoot me a message. It's not hard to get in contact with me. Shoot me a message. I want everybody to be involved. We got some big races to run over the course of the next several weeks. M2, thank you so much for following my page. I really do appreciate that so much. Anybody looking to get involved in local politics, please do hit me up. We've got some big races we're going to run. We're going to be joined by James Lalino in just a second, guys. Before we get to that, guys, head on over to lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. That's everything you need for Live from America, guys. Check out Jeremy's store over there and become a monthly donor to LFA TV. We appreciate your Rumble rants. We can't do this stuff without you guys' help. So head on over to lfatv.us. It's lfatv.us. We're going to be joined by James Lalino in just 1 second. We'll be right back. Alrighty, guys, we are back. Super excited to bring on my next guest. He is a investigative journalist. He is a producer over at OAN. He's a former investigative reporter at Project Veritas. But more importantly than that, he's been a long time friend of mine. Does phenomenal work. Everybody, please say hello to my friend James Lolino. James, thanks so much for coming back on. You're double dipping. You're in exclusive company here, coming on the show twice. It's you. It's Lee Zeldin. It's you and Lee Zeldin. So it's great to. So you're in great. You and the EPA administrator have been on the show
Long Island
twice.
guys.
That's I only have Long Island guys on twice.
Yeah.
Don't worry, George. I'll call you at some point. But it's I wanted to have you on because you did some pretty interesting investigations about the guy who owned the Cybertruck that exploded outside of Trump Tower. That story was in and out of the news unbelievably quickly. Obviously, the same day as the New Orleans terror attack, and now we're dealing with confirmations and wildfires and Joe Biden almost giving a farewell address. I don't know what the hell that was, but I did want to shine a little bit of light on this. Why don't you tell everybody what you were able to discern from this? Because, like I said, it was probably the least covered story of the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, in case you missed it, I spoke with the owner of the Cybertruck. This gentleman rented it to Matthew Livelsberger. He spent an hour with him, with Livelsberger, the day that he rented the truck. So, one of my sources linked us up together, and we had this just incredible conversation. And, he told me just all about how Livelsberger was very concerned about whether or not he could use the outlet in the back. I'm a Tesla owner, so I understand how they work, but apparently the Cybertruck has an outlet, a 110 outlet you could just plug just like your wall in your house. You could plug right in. And he was very concerned about this outlet, and now we know why, right? It seems that he had this like butane or I don't even know. He had all those like camping equipment in the back of the truck plugged into that outlet, whatever. We haven't really heard too much more out of the Vegas PD about that, but it's an ongoing investigation, absolutely.
And one of the things that I do want to make sure that I cover, because there was a lot of stuff about this that came out when he rented the truck, he rented it off of an app that most people use. There seemed to be a lot of consternation between or confusion between the New Orleans terrorist and this guy, both using the same app. But from what I gather, this seems to be like Airbnb for cars, I guess, right? You can just rent your car out to random people. So it's there may not be as much there as some people think.
Yeah, sure. I never heard of the app. I've really never rented cars off of it at all. I never heard of it. In my days renting cars, for my old companies, we would use Enterprise and other places. Yeah, apparently a lot of people I know actually use this. So when this story came out and I was talking to some of my coworkers and some of my sources and friends and different people, they said, oh yeah, I've used that app once. And some said that you could meet the owner in person and they give you the keys, they explain everything like an Airbnb. Others said their experience was a little different, where they showed up to like a garage, they had a PIN code, they go in, the key is in a box, they take like a business, right? Like an Airbnb, like a hostel almost. So it was just it's very strange that they were at the same place. I'm not like a conspiracy guy who's going to be like, well, look, of course they're connected, because there's no other evidence that shows it other than same day. Yeah.
I'm not that guy at all, but I will say, like, you're not renting my car. That's
No.
so weird. I mean, look, I guess I can understand Airbnb if it's like a second home and you're buying it for that purpose. But like, also, like, you're not staying in my house. Like, I don't know. To me, that's
I don't even want you. I don't want you using my bathroom. I don't want you in my car.
bro, that's so weird. Like, hell, I'm staying at your house in a week. I'm a little weird about, like, I'm staying at some guy's house and the owner's not even here. And the owner's here. It's weird. I don't know. It's
Again, perfectly acceptable if it's like a hot hotel situation, or if it's oh man, this is a business here. But if it's a guy's house and he's like, yeah, just don't rub my toothbrush on your feet or something.
Yeah, right. I'm getting a very oh, we're more than happy to have you here. Just stay out of the basement. And I'm like, oh, Why am I going to end up there for the rest of my very short life? Like, I don't know. I'm getting
It's
those
like measuring your neck and your arms.
That's it. Like, I've seen Silence of the Lambs. I ain't ended up in that damn hole. But one other story that you've been focusing a lot on, that everybody's been focusing on, is what's been going on down at the border. And, you know, with the transition happening, with so much American optimism coming out at the moment, it seems as though we have sort of, I don't want to say ignored or forgotten about, but it seems like the influx of people coming into the country hasn't really stopped. I mean, according to the numbers we're getting, it may have slowed down a little bit, but it's still, you know, an open door policy. Speaking of breaking into people's homes and sleeping in them, you know, the totality of the third world is doing that. But what do you got down on the border?
Okay, so the border story that we published last month, December, for the Daily Wire, was an exclusive that I published with them. We exposed the Biden administration, you know, using its final weeks, you know, hauling a massive amount of border wall materials away from the southern border, and it was being sold in a government auction by an organization called GovPlanet, which is owned by another organization called Ritchie Bros. That's the name of it, Ritchie Bros. By all accounts,
it's good to know that's who the government's dealing with.
Yeah,
They're dealing with Ritchie Bros.
Exactly, and one of my sources down there told me, he said, by all accounts, Ritchie Bros are good people. They're just doing a government contract. You know, they're not evil, like, you know, Illuminati people that are, you know, they're just doing a contract. They just happen to be the ones who are transporting the wall. And you know, U.S. Customs Border Patrol agent that I've known for a while. You know, I used to work at Veritas, as people know, and we've maintained a lot of these sources over the years. You never ever get rid of sources. If you leave the business and you go do something else, then maybe. I don't know. But as a journalist and reporter and working in this political media field, you always want to keep your sources, just because you never know. They might call you one day and say, "Hey, check this out." So that's exactly what happened. This footage of the border wall, and I said, "Wait a second. So they're transporting it away." Trump had just won, like maybe a couple weeks before I got the footage. It took a couple of weeks to, you know, corroborate everything and call the sources and get the on-the-record quotes and line up some congressmen that were interested in, you know, commenting on it and giving it more of a more attention. So I had this footage, and I said, "Oh my goodness, this is unbelievable." You see the stacks of the wall. It's brown, and it's steel bollards. And then I went to the website, and they're selling it starting at $5 a pop for a section for 4 of them, not just one piece, but a section of 4. And my source ended up sending me more footage a week later now of more wall, like miles of wall, and from a car, moving car, and you can see as far as the eye can see, it's a wall stacked up at the Pinal Air Park in, I guess it was Marana, Arizona. I don't have the note in front of me, but it was unbelievable. And my source told me that, you know, they're taking it from 3 stations. They told me Nogales, Tucson, 3 points. The goal is to move it off the border before Christmas. My source was speaking with the truck drivers. I was able to see the DOT number on the side of the truck. So that's if you're a good reporter, and you want to, like, dig deeper, you got to look at what you're looking on the screen. And if you see the DOT number, you see a hint, a clue. Oh my God. So I typed that in, and I was able to get a hold of the man who was hauling the wall, and he explained everything to me. He told me, he admitted it. He said, "Yes, I'm hauling the wall. I can't talk much more about it." And he wasn't really happy about it. I'm going to be honest. Again, it's a guy making money. It's a guy who's involved in his government contracts. That's a whole business, and someone's got to do it. And then sure enough, we get Congressman Eli Crane on, who's from the bordering district. He's not from that specific district, but it's right next door. And, you know, he sees it, and he tells me that, you know, this is a big deal. And he sees it, you know, was more than happy to get behind us and gives a comment and trying to expose it. Yeah.
Eli Crane is great. But yeah, I think it's so funny that you say the guy said, "I can't really comment much more on it."
Yeah.
That is, like, for everybody watching out there, if you want a reporter to continue to crawl as far up your ass as humanly possible, tell them, "I really can't talk about this." Because that's a real good way for them to go, "Oh, well, what is it that you can't talk about? Now I must do my job." And that's
exactly.
As soon as I hear that, I'm like, "Well, what is it that you can't talk about?"
Yeah, and it's some people get wrapped up in their emotions with this stuff. I've dealt with other reporters on the left and right who get all upset about things. Don't be a dick when you're dealing with when you're calling for a comment. You don't have to decide about it, right? Or rude. If you're getting emotional about an investigation, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, you got to make sure you're far enough, and that's what happens to so many. I don't want to say conspiracy theorists because that phrase has become virtually meaningless now. But so many people spend 5 years covering something, and they're so far in that they can't see from their periphery that maybe they're missing something. And that's what tends to happen, I feel like, a lot of times on stories that end up being so big that people like rededicate their entire lives to it.
Yeah, 100%. I saw that at Project Veritas where people would, certain stories would be their hill to die on. In particular, when we were investigating a lot of anything involving children, when we were doing our investigations, trying to save children and expose bad people that were harming children, it was very difficult for some people to pull away from it, especially the mothers that I worked with, the undercover journalists who would fly across the country, leave their kids at home with their husband or their mother or whatever, and they would put on a camera and go undercover with some bad people or
that's a soft way. That's a soft way of putting it. But, no, because I got to speak to Michael Resendez of the Boston Globe. Well, he was at the Boston Globe at the time, and he's one of the spotlight reporters that broke the Catholic Church story. And even he was like, bro, there was some days that we were like, this every day it got bigger and bigger. He was like, there's no way this isn't the end, but how could this not be the end? And they were really starting to question themselves in a lot of ways, because they were like, what, how could this be so big? And no one say anything. And I think with the human trafficking going on down at the border, with just the scope of the border invasion, the sheer amount of people that have come over, it's so big that sometimes it's like, am I missing something here?
Yeah, it's sad because I remember meeting with a Border Patrol agent in, I think it was March 2021. I was working for Veritas at the time, Project Veritas, and I flew to Tucson. It was 24 hours I was in and out, and I met this fellow. And I forgot the story that we published with his information, but we did publish something shortly thereafter, I remember. And we met in person, and he told me that under Trump, maybe once every 6 months you would see one person, they would catch one person crossing the border, and maybe once every 6 months. And he told me within a few months, like 2 months, whatever it was, that they were catching people every single day coming over because of during the Biden administration. Again, this was like March or April 2021. It was bad. Yeah,
it's out of control, and I can't imagine what some of those people are going to be seeing, and I wish many of them had an outlet to come forward. And if anybody, if there's anybody out there who knows any Border Patrol agents or knows anybody like that, anybody who's got a story to tell, this is the man I would absolutely point you to, because you have handled or been either handled personally or been around some of the most delicate stories that have broken over the course of the last 5 years or so with your time at Veritas. You guys definitely know how to handle these sorts of things. And like you said, I wouldn't be able to. You come to me and let me know that you've got a site for human trafficking, I'm coming in heavy, we'll say, because we're on YouTube and I can't say what I want to say. But I'm coming in quite heavy to retrieve whatever is there, as I try to say that as gently as humanly possible.
Well, if you haven't hit me up. Bad education, bad border stuff, anything going on. And it's not really about just getting the story. And what I wanted to mention, and if anyone's listening that wants to get into this business, or they're in the business and they're not getting the big story, the big break that they've been looking for, they've been working their ass off, and I've been there. And one thing, what matters is getting the story, but then it's what you do afterwards. So what I learned, Project Veritas, was when we would get our story, we would publish it. That is when our comms team's work would actually start. That's when Mario Balaban and Eric Spracklin and the rest, that's when their job started. Mm-hmm. Get the story out to the influencers, to get the story out to the lawmakers, to get the story in front of the people, the lawmakers, the people who could actually do something about it, and get the comment. So when we published that story, I made sure to get it to as close to the incoming president as close as I could. And when I got word that President Trump had the story in his hand, I was like, okay, great. This is what the goal, because we want, again, the president of the United States needs to see that this is happening, because his response triggered coverage from Fox News, CNN, Fox, CNN, New York Times, Washington Post. Begrudgingly, they had to cover the story. Fox News, they were right on it. They sent drones down. New York Post, they were all over it. So, because what I learned at Veritas is that we need to get the lawmakers to react, because then the media will cover it, and then the thing that we exposed will actually get reformed. And that led to Eli Crane taking an active voice in it. Senator Langford, he took an active voice in it. I got a comment for him on a follow-up. And, that led to Ken Paxton, who's great AG. He always takes these great stories that we've done over the years, and he's done something with them, whether it was the transgender surgeries that we exposed at Project Veritas in 2023, or it was Raquel Rodriguez, I believe her name was. She was selling votes, playing both sides in Texas. She got arrested.
Yeah, no, we have the ability now, and I think with what Elon Musk did with Twitter, and hopefully what he does with TikTok. If you're listening, Elon, just bite the bullet and buy it, babe. Hey, what the a billion here, billion there? What the hell? What the hell, Elon? But we now have the ability to set the trends, and I think that what people don't seem to understand is when we say sentences like "we are the media," we're not saying we're the media. What we're saying is that if the right people on X get a story, insert whatever big account you follow, whether it's people like Sorter or Gunther Engelman or huge account, even the Krasensteins who suck, like, they catch it, Fox News picks it up, and now it's a national story. Now the boomers in Congress who have no idea, who think Facebook is a book of faces, now the boomers in Congress go, oh, I saw something on Fox News that Fox News picked up because of, look at the story I did with Liam. A kid with a rare brain disorder. That was all over the place. I did interviews on the Times of India. Like, that's a lot of people. And it was, you have the ability. That was what, when look, Sky News called me, that was cool. Fox called, that was cool. When I got a call from the Times of India, I was like, okay, now we have circumnavigated.
That's critical mass.
That's critical mass. Well, 1.5 billion people who only have internet through their phones.
But that's international critical mass. So that was always our goal as undercover investigative journalists or whatever journalists we're doing. If you're doing any sort of investigation, the goal is to get the New York Times to cover it, the papers all over the world, the local media, whether it's in Kentucky or it's Tallahassee, whatever. We want to get the local media to cover it, and that was what was great about the story. I just got an email last night from a guy in Tucson, a local reporter who wants to do who wants to report on this story. It was a month ago, right? He wants to do a big investigative piece. I said, "Oh, great." But what to finish off what I was saying before, it because Paxton from Texas teamed up with the Attorney General of Missouri, and they filed like an injunction in court. I'm not an attorney, but I know a few things. They filed this motion in court, and then President Trump, right after Christmas, I believe it was 3 days after Christmas, filed an amicus. So he asked for the border wall to stop being sold, and then President Biden's administration had to go to court and agree to stop selling the border wall because of President Trump's injunction with the AG's hand, because of all that together. So that's the goal, right? Get the President of the United States to act.
That is the goal. And you know what? I tell this to people all the time. If you got one of these, you're a reporter.
100%.
Go to the place where things are happening. My buddy Diligent and Sorter were actually, they just jumped on a plane and they went to California for the fires.
Yeah.
And they were like, let's see what we can get. And that is how you get every story out. James Alino, I want to thank you for being a two-timer on here.
That's my third time.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you were the only one who's been in every studio, I think.
I came on the first time was after we did the story on Dave Casamento on Long Island.
Yes.
Here at what was it? East Meadow School Districts.
Yep.
And then I came on like a day after we all got laid off of Veritas. I think it was the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was after I went on a bit of a rant and then had to explain myself to a few people. But
yeah, just an emotionally charged couple of weeks there.
I still love you, Eric. Don't worry. Still love Eric. Still love Mary. All of my boys. Don't worry. I worked it all out in public.
I still talk to them all the time. So
yeah, no. Eric's killing it down there with what's his face. I forgot who it is, but.
He's got his hand in a lot of pots, that guy. He's
definitely
taught me a lot over the years.
You know what? Well, with what you and not to dive into the Veritas stuff, but there were so many talented people there that like it was like a confluence of just talent, and that's why it worked so well. And the fact that so many of you landed on your feet after all that is great for not only for the country but for the movement, for our industry as a whole. It's good to see.
Yeah, and a lot of us are doing good things. Some of us have left the business, I've noticed. I still stay in touch with most people. Some people have left. They're doing other things. We had accountants. We had fundraisers. We had people who, they weren't necessarily like political or political media oriented or political junkies like all of us in this business are. Sometimes we would actually put job postings out and we wouldn't say what company it was, right? And they show up. It was Veritas. Oh crap! I'm going to be an IT guy here. know. So a lot like they're doing other things. A lot of them. But some of us are still doing great work. There's some of us are. There's some people working for Catherine Herridge that are doing great investigative work, and the Crowder team is they're doing their thing, and others are out there doing work.
That's
working
good.
in the business.
Well, James Lino, let everybody know where they can follow you, brother. If you guys have a tip where they can send it over to you so that you can do your thing.
Yeah, I'm on the internet. James Lalino at protonmail.com. You could DM me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook if you want. It's just my name. Just you can find me. It's easy. And just I have a Gmail too, but if you can't figure out how to spell Proton Mail, then Gmail, whatever. Or
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, buddy, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, Kevin. You're the best. Appreciate it.
See you
See
soon.
you this weekend.
Yep. See you then. Alrighty, guys. We will be right back. Alrighty, guys. I want to thank James Alito for coming on. One of my best friends. Just a hell of a worker in the movement. Help expose a lot of great stories when he was over at Project Veritas in the heyday of Veritas. Solid guy. Make sure you guys are following James Lalino everywhere. If you've got a tip, send it over to him. He'll investigate it. He's a hell of a guy. Guys, before we wrap up today, I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in, filling in for Will Johnson here towards the end of the day, towards the end of the show. Make sure you guys keep it locked in here. Hannah Faulkner is coming up next, the coolest kid in the world. If you guys are watching the Hannah Faulkner show, quite frankly, I don't know what you're doing. Before we get to that, guys, head on over to LoudMajorityUSA.com. That's LoudMajorityUSA.com. Pick up your Legends Never Die t-shirt. Legends Never Die. You can even get it in the salmon if that is something that you enjoy, or in the deep red. Giddy up, let's go. We got it in every color. Guys, Legends Never Die. That's just one of the many things you can get over at LoudMajorityUSA.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out the shop. Also, once again, if you're looking to get involved in local politics, I promise you I've got a race for you. Whether it's in New Jersey, Long Island, or in the 5 boroughs, shoot me a message. We will get you guys the information when it comes out in the next couple of weeks. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. Once again, congratulations to Jeremy Harrell over on his election coverage. Congrats to Paul Ingrassia on his appointment over to the White House. Hell of a job, guys. It's good to know good people in good places. Guys, Hannah Faulkner's coming up at 3 in 18 minutes. So go get a bite to eat. Come on back. Hannah Faulkner's coming in. Until tomorrow, everybody, stay loud.